What is up everyone, it is Sacred Saiyan here, welcoming you back to another video. Today we're going to be starting a new series on the channel, What If Goku and Turles Were Twins? This series was chosen by my first channel member, Yeti Myth, and I was meant to do this series a couple of weeks ago. However, I did my collaboration with Dragonstar, and then I did my 10k special, but I finally gotten around to doing this series. If you end up liking today's video, then please consider subscribing. It is free and you can always unsubscribe later. Also, if you want to join my Discord server, then there is a link to that in the description of the video. You can talk to me and my community, grind for roles, hang out, and if you put your art in the art text channel and 10 people react with a star, it will get featured at the end of a video. If you want to see another part of this series, then get this video to 500 likes. And with all of that out of the way, let's get into today's episode of What If Goku and Turles Were Twins? So we start this series on planet Vegeta, where we see two baby Saiyans who look identical to one another. One of them being named Turles, while the other is named Kakarot. The one named Turles was born slightly earlier than his brother Kakarot, and unlike Kakarot, was born with an average Saiyan power level, if not slightly above. Turles also left his incubator before Kakarot, and even though being so young, was sent on a mission off-world, as that was a normal thing for the Saiyans. We now head to when Bardock and Gine are putting their son Kakarot into a space pod. Gine asks Bardock if he is sure Kakarot will be safe on Earth. Maybe they should send him to Turles or Raditz. Bardock tells Gine that he is sure. This is the only way to know for certain Kakarot will be safe. So Goku is sent to Earth like normal, and all the events remain the same, with Raditz still suggesting to Nappa and Vegeta that they head to Earth to recruit his younger brother Kakarot. He also had a younger brother called Turles, who he believes was sent on a mission off-world. However, he doesn't know if Turles returned to planet Vegeta or not, so he isn't sure if he is even alive. So this leads to the Saiyan Saga remaining the same, and this is where we need to try and fit the Tree of Might movie into the canon timeline. It has to happen after the Saiyan Saga, since Goku is a kaioken. However, all the humans and Piccolo are revived, which makes no sense, seeing as Piccolo gets revived on Namek, while the humans get revived even after that. So we're going to need to make some changes to the movie in order for it to make sense in the timeline. One of these changes being that we are going to be giving everyone a third of their movie power level. So Goku would have a base power level of 10,000, while Turles would have a base power level of 6,300. A power level of over 100,000 after eating the fruit. Goku is in the hospital after he had his intense battle against the Prince of All Saiyans Vegeta, and in this timeline, Korin did actually have a senzu bean spare for Goku to eat, meaning he will be able to go to Namek at the same time as the others. However, he still wants to train along the way, meaning the gravity ship is in the process of being made, and instead of just him going to Namek on the gravity ship, the others will go to Namek on it alongside him. So, while they wait for the ship to be made, this is when Turles and his men arrive on Earth, and the events of the Tree of Might movie remain mostly the same, other than the involvement of Piccolo and the others who should be dead, and we will end up having Roshi help out in this version of events. Turles would have told Kakarot that they are brothers, and would have tried convincing Goku to join him. However, Goku would obviously refuse, meaning they still fight, and this time, when Goku uses his final attack on Turles, he ends up holding back, since he already killed one of his brothers, and he doesn't want to kill another if not necessary. This would lead to Turles barely surviving, and being rushed to a Special Capsule Corp hospital, just in case he wakes up and has an outburst. Turles would spend this time resting, for the remaining days until the gravity ship is finished being made, and the day where Goku and the others are going to head to Namek, Goku walks into the room where Turles is laying, and he then sits beside Turles. Turles asks Goku what he wants and why did Goku not kill him. Goku tells Turles that he is here to make Turles an offer. He wants Turles to come to Namek along with himself and a couple others in order to gather Namek's Dragon Balls and revive all his friends. Turles would ask what he gets out of going, and Goku says that for one, he will be fully healed, and for two, he will get some training in and become even stronger. And Goku does want to train with Turles, saying if they train together, they can easily surpass Vegeta. Turles looks shocked, not knowing that Goku had an encounter with Prince Vegeta, and is even more surprised when he hears Goku say that he actually beat the Prince. Turles thinks for a moment, realising that if he doesn't cooperate, then his brother could easily kill him. And this does give him the opportunity to grow stronger, maybe even stronger than Prince Vegeta. Turles would reluctantly agree to Goku's proposition, so Goku would give Turles a senzu bean, telling him to eat it. Turles would look confused, however he would eat the bean, and he would be amazed as all of his injuries are healed. This would give Turles a huge Zenkai boost, getting him to a base power level of 16,000. Turles would look at his hands, being happy with his new power, however slightly disappointed, seeing that the power of the fruit has worn off. He did expect this, but it is still irritating nevertheless. This means Turles does actually have a stronger base than this Goku. This Goku after the events of Tree of Might, now having a base power level of 15,000. However, Goku does have the kaioken, and Turles knows this, so he doesn't step out of line. At least not for now. Goku brings Turles to the gravity ship. Krillin isn't sure that Goku is making the right decision, but there is no going back now. Gohan just has a determined look on his face. He just wants to revive Mr. Piccolo, and they can use all the help they can get. This leads to Goku, Turles, Gohan, Krillin and Bulma all heading to Namek in the gravity ship. The gravity ship being both bigger and slower than the canon gravity ship, in order to support all the extra people. The ship also leaves a bit later than Gohan, Krillin and Bulma left in canon, so I'll just say they arrive on Namek slightly before they do in canon. So this gives us some time for Goku, Gohan, Turles and Krillin to all train in the gravity room. Krillin would get the least amount of gains, since Saiyans have the trait where they can more easily adapt to higher levels of gravity, which Krillin cannot do. Gohan would also get less gains than Goku and Turles, seeing as he can only use weaker levels of gravity when training, and while Gohan and Krillin are sleeping, Goku and Turles train with each other. This leads to Goku having a power level of 500,000, Gohan having a power level of 90,000, Krillin having a power level of 60,000, and Turles having a power level of 528,000. And Turles theorizes that the power of the fruit may return, and he hopes this is the case since that would boost his power immensely. The group would arrive on Namek, and they would decide to split into groups. Goku and Krillin would be one group, while Turles and Gohan would be another. The two groups would then split up and search for the Dragon Balls. Turles and Gohan coming across the same village Gohan and Krillin did in canon, seeing Frieza, Zarbon and Dodoria, along with some fodder Frieza soldiers, attempting to get a Dragon Ball. They are about to kill a Namekian child, however this is when Gohan jumps in, firing a Masenko at Frieza and then grabbing the Namekian child, then flying away. Frieza is unfazed, but is surprised at the small child's power. And even more surprisingly, it seems that the child was a Saiyan. Frieza would then send Dodoria after them. However, Gohan is far too fast for Dodoria, and Dodoria loses him, leading into him finding Vegeta instead, and their fight playing out as usual. Goku and Krillin are going to multiple Namekian villages and asking for the Dragon Balls, and after explaining their reason for wanting them, the Namekians would happily give the balls to Goku and Krillin. And eventually, they would end up at the Grand Elder Guru's place, and since the Grand Elder senses his planet is in peril, he unlocks both Krillin and Goku's potential. This leads to both Goku and Krillin getting huge boosts in power, Krillin reaching a staggering power level of 300,000, and Goku reaching a power level of 3.5 million. And this is just at the beginning of their potential unlock. As they fight, that power will grow. Goku and Krillin want to find Gohan and Turles so they can get their potential unlocked as well, but when they try to sense Gohan and Turles' energy, they sense them next to Vegeta of all people, and they sense 5 other strong power levels next to them. Goku and Krillin fly over to the scene, watching as Turles takes on the entire Ginyu force by himself. But when Turles turns to face Ginyu, Ginyu punches a hole in his own chest, and he shouts, "Change now!" Captain Ginyu has just stolen the body of Turles, and even though he can't use Turles' full power, he can still access a power which is over 140,000. This means the only two people there that can beat Ginyu now are Goku and Krillin, with Goku deciding to be the one to beat Ginyu out of his brother's body. And with the knowledge from Vegeta that there is a healing tank that Turles can be put in after, Goku doesn't go easy on Ginyu and Turles' body, eventually beating him so hard that Ginyu attempts to steal Goku's body as well, but Turles in Ginyu's body then jumps in the way, getting his body back, and then Turles, using the small amount of energy he has left, would then finish off the captain of the Ginyu force. Goku, Gohan, Krillin and Vegeta would then all bring Turles to Frieza's ship and place him in a healing tank. Vegeta only doing this because he fears Goku's new power and believes he has surpassed Saiyan potential itself. He believes Goku is the Super Saiyan. Goku then thinks for a moment, remembering he wanted to get Gohan's potential unlocked, so Goku tells Krillin to stay with Vegeta while he takes Gohan to the Grand Elder Guru's place and gets his potential unlocked. He also finds Dende after he just got his potential unlocked, and he sends Dende back with Gohan to use the Dragon Balls and revive Piccolo. Goku not going back himself because he can sense Frieza's quickly approaching. Goku tells Nail to stay inside and protect the Grand Elder Guru. He can deal with Frieza alone. Nail nods, knowing he is outmatched, so he goes inside to protect the Grand Elder. Shortly after this, Frieza arrives on the scene and has a scowl when he can see another Saiyan is alive. He must be the father of that child Saiyan he saw earlier. Goku cracks his knuckles, saying that he doesn't know much about Frieza, but he knows he's killed innocent Namekians. Frieza chuckles, saying he hasn't just killed Namekians. In fact, he is the one who wiped out the Saiyan race. This doesn't have much of an impact on Goku, which surprises Frieza. However, Frieza doesn't care anyways. He will wipe out this monkey along with his son, and he will save Prince Vegeta for last. Goku realises Frieza hasn't seen Turles yet, and laughs to himself, thinking that once Turles heals up, Frieza will regret not considering him as a threat. Frieza asks if Goku is done with his inner monologue, and Goku scratches the back of his head and chuckles. He gets carried away sometimes. Goku and Frieza then get in their fighting stances. The two then rushing at each other and their battle commencing. At the same time, Gohan and Dende arrive at Frieza's ship, seeing Vegeta sleeping and Krillin attempting to use the Dragon Balls. Dende says he can make their wishes for them, so the three of them then fly a short distance away with the Dragon Balls and then make their wishes. They first revive Piccolo like normal, however since Goku is so strong and isn't healing right now, they have no need to bring Piccolo to Namek. So instead, they wish to revive Tien, and seconds before Vegeta arrives on the scene, they use the final wish to fully heal Turles. Gohan completely forgot to ask Dende to heal Turles, so they decided to use their third wish to do so. This is when Vegeta shows up, being furious that he missed out on his wish to become immortal, and as he powers up a blast in his hand, Turles appears, grabbing Vegeta's arm and glaring at him. Vegeta powers down, and Turles lets go of his arm, then letting Vegeta know that he didn't even need to step in. Even the child is stronger than Vegeta. Vegeta looks in disbelief as Turles then flies away. Gohan and Krillin following shortly after, and Vegeta not knowing where else to go would do the same. We now head back to the fight between Goku and Frieza. Goku's potential unlock boost has finally peaked, and he is at a base power level of 6 million. Krillin's potential unlock boost peaks at 500,000, Gohan's potential unlock peaks at 1 million, and Turles gets a huge boost, because not only did he get a Zenkai boost similar to Goku's in canon, but the power of the fruit has also boosted this Zenkai boost, putting Turles at a staggering base power level of 26.4 million. Goku is facing off against Frieza, and using Kaioken times 10, he's equal to half of Frieza's full power. Frieza commends Goku, saying nobody has ever pushed him this far before, whether it is time he shows the monkey his full power. Goku looks worried as he watches Frieza go full power. Goku knows the only way he can even keep up with Frieza now is with Kaioken times 20, but it's risky. Turles, Gohan and Krillin arrive on the scene, and they see a Kaioken times 20 Goku facing off against Frieza, and it seems like they are both losing energy fast, but Goku is losing energy faster. Turles and Gohan step in, Krillin being too paralysed with fear to help. Unfortunately, Gohan is simply an ant compared to Frieza, and with a single blast, Gohan is killed. Both Goku and Turles then freeze out of shock, and Frieza takes this chance to also shoot a death beam through Turles' chest. Turles being extremely injured and near death. Frieza begins to laugh with an evil grin on his face, but then, everything goes quiet. Frieza looks at Goku, and he sees his hair spiking up and turning golden. Goku has become the Super Saiyan, and he is consumed by an uncontrollable rage. He only just got a relationship with his brother, and Frieza has taken that away from him. Frieza forced his race into slavery, and he then swatted them like bugs. His mother, his father, his brother, and even his son. This ends once and for all. He isn't letting Frieza leave this planet alive. Vegeta arrives, and he sees Goku. First he gets bested by Kakarot, and now he's the Super Saiyan? That should be him, not some low-class trash. Krillin is dragging Turles, and Dende arrives, healing Turles and boosting Turles' base power level to 30 million. This means he's nearly as strong as Frieza at 50%, and he wants to fight, but he knows he will just get in Kakarot's way. I would like to say that this battle between Goku and Frieza is the battle of the ages, an intense battle which could go either way, but that simply isn't the case. Goku in his base form had a power level of 6 million, meaning as a Super Saiyan, Goku has a power level of 300 million. Comparing this to Frieza's power level of 120 million, which, seeing as he's been fighting Goku at full power with him losing energy constantly for some time, would probably make him even weaker than that. It's just like comparing an ant to a boot. So Goku completely decimates Frieza, and with a final blast, he erases the Space Emperor from existence, leaving nothing remaining. Frieza didn't even get the chance to blow up the planet, because in both his fights with Goku, he simply wasn't given the chance to do so, meaning Namek isn't destroyed, and nobody goes to Yardrat. Turles, Goku and Krillin simply go back to Earth on the gravity ship, and with nowhere else to go, Vegeta goes to Earth along with them. All four of them training on their way back to Earth, and over time, Gohan and the remaining humans revived. And with Frieza being killed on Namek, that means there are no Mecha Frieza and King Cold coming to Earth, so when future Trunks arrives, he simply heads to Mount Paozu in search of Goku. However, this is where we're going to leave off this part. Trunks has arrived in Mount Paozu in search of Goku, and when he arrives, he sees Goku and Turles training together. Goku and Turles stop sparring, and they walk over to Trunks, and they ask who he is. His energy seems somewhat familiar for some strange reason, but they've never met before. Trunks isn't sure if he should say this with Turles here, however he remembers what Gohan told him about Turles, so he decides it is fine. He tells both Goku and Turles that he is the son of Vegeta from the future. He has came back in time because in 3 years there will be 2 androids who will show up and they will wreak havoc on the Earth. All the Z fighters get killed by them, including Piccolo, meaning nobody could be revived. Goku asks what happened to him in the future. Did the androids kill him as well? Trunks shakes his head, saying Goku died by a heart virus sometime before the androids arrived. In fact, that is another reason he is here. He then gives Goku the medicine to the heart virus, and he tells Goku to use it whenever he feels any heart pains. Turles then asks how he died, and Trunks says that from what he heard from Gohan, Turles was the only one to ever contest the androids in strength. Gohan told him that Turles was stronger than one of the androids, however both of the androids worked together, and even then, they still struggled to kill Turles. Turles is angered at his own weakness. He should have been able to deal with the androids. Trunks tells Goku and Turles that he will be back in 3 years to see how everything turns out. He then gets back in his time machine and goes back to the future. Turles and Goku then going around to the other Z fighters and warning them about the threat of the androids. We then skip 3 years into the future. Turles unlocking Super Saiyan during this time, and Turles finally got his own gi much like his future timeline counterpart. Gohan is also on the verge of unlocking Super Saiyan, but he just needs a little push. Just to scale everyone, Turles is the strongest, having a much stronger base form than anyone else, and Super Saiyan was quite natural for him to reach, since he did nearly reach Super Saiyan on Namek. However, Frieza interfered with that. Goku is in second, his training with Turles and Gohan closing some of the gap in power between himself and Turles, and since Goku is the first to reach Super Saiyan, he has better control over it. Vegeta is behind Goku. Without the Zenkais on Namek, he would more than likely be weaker than his canon self. However, for the sake of things being simple, we will just make him at the level of the canon self through his determination alone. Behind Vegeta is Gohan. Gohan having stronger base form than Vegeta, however without Super Saiyan, Vegeta does get ahead. Piccolo is weaker than his canon self, seeing as he never went to Namek and absorbed Nail, while Krillin is a bit stronger than his canon self. Everyone else's power remains the same, so we now head to when the androids arrive, and Goku is facing off against Android 19. The heart virus struck like in canon, so while Goku was taken away, Turles then begins to demolish Android 19, and Vegeta shows up and begins to do the same with Gero. Turles would defeat Android 19 even easier than Vegeta does in canon, and Gero would create a distraction in order to escape and release Android 17 and Android 18. Vegeta still having his fight with Android 18, but when the others are about to take on Android 17, Turles just puts his arm in front of them, telling them to let him handle it. They would all reluctantly agree, and they would watch as Turles transforms into a Super Saiyan and engages in combat with Android 17. Turles having the clear advantage, which leads to Android 16 helping Android 17, and with the two androids working together, Android 16 being even stronger than Android 17 and 18, Turles is being overpowered. This is when Vegeta and Android 18 show back up, Android 18 beating Vegeta as per usual, and Turles is defeated shortly after. The other Z fighters would try to step in, however they are all quickly knocked out, and like in canon, the android would leave them alive, and Krillin would still get a kiss from Android 18. The androids then leave in search of Goku. The androids did at first think Turles was Goku, however Android 16 identified him as Goku's brother Turles. We now head to Piccolo arguing with Kami on the lookout. Piccolo wants Kami and himself to fuse, however Kami disagrees. Even if they were to fuse, they wouldn't have enough strength to best the androids, and they would have no Dragon Balls. They should just wait for Goku to wake up, so then him and Turles can fight the androids together. But in the end, Kami would reluctantly fuse with Piccolo, making Piccolo a lot stronger, however being slightly weaker than his canon self, meaning when Piccolo fights against Imperfect Cell, their fight is a lot more close, and Cell still escapes like normal. We now head to when Goku, Gohan, Turles, Vegeta and Trunks arrive on the lookout to use the time chamber. Vegeta and Trunks go into the time chamber first, but now there's 3 people remaining, and there's not enough food for 3 people. Goku looks at Turles, Turles nodding in understanding. Goku gets down on a knee and he looks at Gohan, saying he will train with Gohan in the time chamber. Gohan is shocked, saying that Turles is already way stronger than him, and already has Super Saiyan. Turles tells Gohan that he agrees with Goku's decision. Besides, right now, he is the only one who can hold off the androids other than Goku and maybe Piccolo. So if Vegeta and Trunks' training is lackluster, then they will need someone who can defend against the androids. We then head to Piccolo's fight with Android 17. Turles, Goku and Gohan sensing this from the lookout. Because Piccolo is a bit weaker than his canon self, he is losing in the fight, which leads to Turles deciding to go and help. Goku wants to stop him, however he knows there is no change in Turles' mind, so he just lets it happen. Turles can handle himself, and Piccolo does need help. So this means Turles shows up and he kicks Android 17 away, stating that it is time they have their rematch. Turles looks at Piccolo, as if saying that Piccolo should take on Android 18 since she seems like the weakest android. Piccolo nods, as Android 16 and Android 17 ready themselves to face Turles, as Android 18 readies herself to face Piccolo. All of them fighting, and after Turles getting a Zenkai from his last fight with the androids, his fight with Android 16 and Android 17 is a bit more even, however the androids do still overpower him nevertheless. Their fight would continue until Cell eventually arrives. Turles and Piccolo sensing this instantly, and all of the fighting stops, as the androids look towards Cell. Just to be clear, since some of you may be wondering, this Cell does not have Frieza or King Cold's DNA, since they never went to Earth. However, he would have the DNA of Turles, so Imperfect Cell should be weaker, however he simply absorbed more humans to compensate. Android 17 gets cocky, rushing at Cell, however Cell effortlessly evades 17's attacks, and he then begins to beat on his android brother. Android 16 would then begin his heated battle with Cell, Piccolo being confused why Turles doesn't step in, as Turles just closes his eyes and senses the battle in front of him. This would lead to everyone believing Cell is dead. However, this is when Cell would dig out of the ground behind Android 17, and he would absorb him to the shock of everyone, and would become semi-perfect Cell. Now 16 can't even touch Cell, as Turles finally steps in. Cell looks at Turles with a grin on his face. Turles simply cracks his neck, and to the shock of everyone, Turles takes off weights. Turles tells Cell that he has to admit, he thought the ginger android actually had the better of him, but anyone with his DNA could never be beaten so easily. The two then stare each other down, smirking as they get in their fighting stances. And that is where we're going to end things off. Turles and Cell are both in their fighting stances, and ready to fight. Turles powers up to Super Saiyan, and this signals the beginning of their fight as the two warriors rush at each other with immeasurable speed. While this happens, Piccolo shouts for Android 18 and Android 16 to fly away. The two androids not objecting to this whatsoever, so the two fly away with Piccolo close behind as Turles continues to fight Cell. Cell and Turles' fight is similar to the fight between Trunks and Cell in canon, however this time the roles are reversed, so Cell is the one who is stronger than his Super Saiyan opponent. Turles is just trying his best to buy time, and luckily it is working, because Cell has become solely focused on beating Turles. The ego from his Turles and Vegeta DNA fueling him, and luckily Turles' plan works, as Vegeta in Super Saiyan Grade 2 shows up, catching a punch from Cell and then taking over the fight from Turles. Trunks then going over to Turles and asking where the androids are, and Turles says they should be long gone by now, but they should ask Piccolo which direction they went. Turles and Trunks look around, trying to find Piccolo, but then they both look scared as they realise Piccolo went with the androids. They then look back to Vegeta and they see Cell is gone. Turles shouts at Vegeta, calling him a fool. If Cell absorbs 18, then they won't stand a chance. Vegeta glares at Cell, saying last time he checked, Turles was so weak that he couldn't even take on this version of Cell, so he has no right to speak on what he can and can't handle. Turles and Trunks sense Piccolo, and then fly in his direction, trying to get to him and the androids before Cell, but when they arrive, it is too late. Piccolo's dead on the ground, Android 16's body parts are scattered around, and Perfect Cell is standing there. Vegeta then shows up, having his fight with Perfect Cell like in canon, and Trunks has his same fight with Cell after. Turles then stands beside Trunks after his defeat, and Cell still decides to host the Cell games, so he then leaves them be for now. We now head to when Goku and Gohan exit the time chamber. Because of how close Gohan was to achieving Super Saiyan beforehand, they left the time chamber even earlier than they did in canon. And after seeing Goku's power, Vegeta says he is going into the time chamber again. However, Goku says that Vegeta is going to have to wait. There's one more person who hasn't been in the time chamber yet, and Goku still hasn't used all his months in the time chamber. Vegeta grunts as Goku and Turles then go to the time chamber to train. Since Goku already knows how to master Super Saiyan, and Turles already has Super Saiyan, it is easy for Turles to master Super Saiyan in the few months Goku has left, and then Goku has to leave the time chamber, and Turles trains for the remaining months by himself, creating clones of himself to train with, which he learned from Goku. We now head to the Cell games. Goku still being up first to face Cell, and this fight is a lot harder for Cell to win than in canon. To scale, Goku here with his base form being much stronger than his canon self, along with training in the time chamber more since he trains with Gohan and Turles. This may seem surprising to you, but Goku here is just as strong as Perfect Cell. Cell only having an advantage due to his superior techniques along with his regeneration. So Goku in the end would forfeit, and instead of getting Gohan to face Cell, Turles steps up to take on the Bio Android. Since Turles is still considerably stronger than Goku, that means he is also considerably stronger than Cell. And even with the fact that Goku still gives Cell a Senzu Bean, and Cell does get a minor Zenkai boost, Turles still overpowers the Bio Android to the point where Cell's regeneration and techniques can't give him the edge. Turles absolutely beats on Cell, bitch slapping him like he is Goku and Cell is Frieza, apart from the gap between them is even larger. This fight would eventually lead to Cell beginning his self-destruction. However, there is one huge problem: nobody has instant transmission, which means there is seemingly no way to stop Cell. They can't even use the Dragon Balls to wish Cell to be teleported away, because they became inactive after Kami and Piccolo fused, and then Piccolo died after that. And yet again, without instant transmission, Goku couldn't have brought Dende to Earth to make new Dragon Balls. Cell begins to laugh, saying they are all doomed, but Turles says not quite. Everyone looks at Turles, as Turles raises his arms into the air, and Cell gets lifted into the air, going higher and higher every second. Turles is using telekinesis, much like Frieza can, and he is lifting Cell into the atmosphere. Cell screams as his plans are foiled, and everyone can look up and see Cell explode in space. Everyone then begins celebrating, as Turles just saved them all. But then, out of nowhere, a single death beam is shot, piercing Trunks' chest as his lifeless corpse falls to the ground. Cell then crashes back into the earth, creating a massive cloud of dust, and once it clears, Cell is holding Goku by the neck while also having Turles' head under his heel. Cell begins to laugh maniacally. He thought killing Piccolo was satisfying after his first defeat to that slug filth. However, killing Goku, and more importantly killing Turles, well, that will be a lot more satisfying. Gohan is frozen in fear and shock. Not only is Cell gloating at the fact he killed Mr. Piccolo, but now he sees his father and uncle, who Gohan sees as both stronger than himself, at the whim of Cell. Cell looks at Gohan, smirking as he crushes Goku's throat and stomps in Turles' head so hard that it pops like a balloon. The death of Gohan's father, uncle and Mr. Piccolo keep replaying in Gohan's head. They are all dead, and after Cell kills him and the others, the entire world will be as well. Gohan then watches as Vegeta rushes at Cell out of pure bloodlust for Cell killing Trunks, where Cell with a single attack knocks the prince to the ground. Cell then is ready to fire a death beam at Vegeta, but Gohan finally snaps. He won't let anyone else die because of his own weakness and cowardice. Turles, Mr. Piccolo, his father, nobody else will die by Cell's hands. He refuses to let any more innocent lives be taken. Gohan's hair spikes up as his aura bursts and he has become a Super Saiyan 2. This Gohan in Super Saiyan was almost on par with Turles, so with Super Saiyan 2, Cell doesn't even stand a chance. Gohan brutally decimates the bio-android known as Cell, and he beats him to a bloody pulp. He will end this once and for all. Gohan then throws Cell into the air, and he kills Cell the same way Trunks does in canon, with a heat dome attack. Cell is completely erased by the attack, and the battle is finally over. King Kai gets in contact with Namek in order for them to use their Dragon Balls and revive all those killed by Cell. They was able to revive multiple people with one wish because Porunga was upgraded. Porunga now also has the ability to grant 3 wishes, so they then wish to transport Dende to Earth so he can become their new guardian, and they can have Dragon Balls once again. And with the final wish, they are asked to revive the androids, since they didn't actually kill anyone, and they were also victims to Cell. Gohan sees as Trunks and Piccolo return. However, there is no sign of Goku or Turles. Goku then talks to all the Z fighters who are alive through King Kai, and he says that neither him or Turles chose to be brought back. Goku believes all the danger the Earth was put through was because of him being there, and Turles wants to stay with his brother, training and growing stronger alongside him in Otherworld, since he was able to get a body in Otherworld because of Goku's request to King Yama, since Turles has changed from who he once was. They both entrust the safety of the Earth onto Gohan, and this time, Gohan does accept this responsibility. He has been more motivated to be stronger ever since he died to Frieza on Namek, because even though I didn't mention it, that did affect him mentally. And now, he will protect the Earth. He won't allow anyone else to go through what he has. And that is where we're going to end off this part. 7 years have passed since the last video ended. Gohan has continued training during this time and has mastered the Super Saiyan 2 transformation. However, just because Gohan continued training this time, this doesn't mean he skipped out on school, because he didn't. Gohan still goes to school, becomes a Great Saiyan Man, and still has his interactions with Videl. Videl's still finding out about Gohan being the Great Saiyan Man and blackmailing him to join the World Martial Arts Tournament. However, before we get into all of that, we head to Otherworld, sometime after Turles and Goku began their training there. Turles and Goku have already unlocked Super Saiyan 2, however Turles keeps thinking of a way to unlock an even greater power for himself, and he thinks back to how Kakarot transformed into a Super Saiyan, and how Gohan transformed into a Super Saiyan 2. Yes, rage was the main factor, however that rage always seemed to be derived by the loss of family. Kakarot transformed when Gohan died, and Gohan transformed after himself and Kakarot died. This gives Turles an idea, as he asks King Kai where his father, mother and brother Alex would be. King Kai says that it is pretty obvious they would be in hell, but before Turles gets any ideas, it is very dangerous going down there. However, Turles doesn't listen to this warning and he begins flying to King Yama's office. Goku shrugging his shoulders as he flies after his brother, as he is curious why Turles wants to see Raditz and his biological parents anyway. This leads to Turles requesting to be allowed into hell for a short period of time. King Yama not understanding why Turles would make such a request, since he barely evaded going down there in the first place. However, King Yama allows it, the only condition being that if Turles gets stuck in hell, he will be there permanently. Turles agrees to these terms, then heading down to hell, and Goku says he has the same request as Turles and agrees to the terms, so he quickly chases after his brother. King Yama not even giving him permission, but he knows there's no stopping Goku. Goku and Turles enter hell. Goku asking how they are even supposed to find their family anyway, but Turles simply says they will find Saiyans where there is fighting, and their family are Saiyans. Goku thinks that Turles' logic makes sense, so so he lets Turles take the lead as they begin to fly around in search of their family. However, instead of finding their family, they come across two very familiar enemies. Goku and Turles touch down on the ground, coming face to face with both Frieza and Cell. Frieza laughs, saying he can finally get revenge on the filthy monkey that sent him to this wretched place, and Cell just smirks, saying it seems he gets to kill the Saiyans for a second time, and that brat isn't here to save them. Turles and Goku look at each other, nodding in agreement as they both rush towards their enemies. Goku facing Frieza, while Turles faces Cell. Goku remaining in his base form while he takes on the Space Emperor, and Turles transforming into Super Saiyan 2 to take on Cell. It seems Cell has taken this time in Hell to train a bit and get stronger, meaning even though Turles is still much stronger than Cell, the gap between them isn't as substantial as Turles would have thought. Goku and Frieza are clashing fists, Frieza being surprised that the monkey is somehow matching him in power without even needing to transform. However, while he's distracted by this thought, he's then sucker punched in the face by a new opponent, getting sent crashing into Cell, and the two slam into the ground. Goku and Turles look to see who hit Frieza, and they see Bardock standing there. Gine and Raditz standing behind him. Bardock cracks his neck, saying he finally found that scum Frieza, and this time, Frieza will die by his hands. Raditz awkwardly stares at Kakarot, being amazed at how much stronger his brother has become after killing him. And when he turns and sees Turles, he is even more shocked. It seems his brothers reunited after his death. If only he was still alive to see it. Bardock told Raditz to stop daydreaming. They have two overconfident bastards to deal with. Raditz regains his focus as he nods in understanding. Frieza and Cell then standing back up, and both of them are irritated that these new Saiyans interrupted their fight. Frieza then recognises Bardock, laughing as he remembers Bardock's feeble attempt at saving his planet. However, before Frieza can begin to mock a Saiyan, Bardock's hair spikes up and turns golden. Frieza's jaw drops. Another Super Saiyan? Cell laughs, asking if Frieza is really afraid of a mere Super Saiyan. He expected more of Frieza. Frieza recollects himself, saying that was simply an act to give the Saiyans false hope, which he will now crush. Cell just rolls his eyes, not believing the short tyrant whatsoever. However, before they can begin their battle, a huge explosion is heard above them all, and as they look up, they see a strange looking red creature who has a grin of malice on his face. King Kai then telepathically tells Turles and Goku that the Hell Soul processing machine broke and corrupted one of King Yama's workers. They need to kill this creature as he has the malice and power of everyone who was sent to Hell. Cell and Frieza simply shoot death beams at the creature known as Janemba. However, Janemba then appears behind them and he kills them both with a single attack. And since they are already dead, this means they are completely erased and can never be revived. Bardock tells Raditz to take care of Gine as he powers up to his fullest. Raditz being terrified of the monster in front of him, so he quickly agrees. Goku and Turles then power up to their fullest as well, and the three golden haired warriors all rush at Janemba, all of them trying to attack the creature. However, Janemba easily evades all of their attacks, and he then creates a red blade which he attempts to slash Goku with. Goku barely dodging this attack, and then Bardock comes from behind Janemba, landing a kick on the back of the monster's head. However, Janemba just turns around, laughing maniacally as he then backhands Bardock into the ground, knocking him out. Goku and Turles then stand in front of Bardock. Janemba is so strong. How are they supposed to beat a monster like this? Goku only has one idea, but it's risky. Turles tells Goku to do it. They have no other option, so Goku reverts to Super Saiyan, and he is then engulfed by a red aura as he shouts, "Kaioken times 4! Turles didn't know Goku had the ability to do this, however he asks if his brother can handle that strain on his body. Goku shouts that they have no other option, and Turles knows his brother is right, so the two then begin to fight Janemba once again. But even with this extra jump in power, there is still no match for Janemba, and as Janemba is about to slice straight through Goku's chest, Raditz out of nowhere jumps in the way, taking the hit head on, and he screams as he fades from reality. Goku looks shocked. Why did Raditz save him? However, while Goku is more confused than anything, Turles is furious. He lost his family once before when he was a child, and now he is losing them again? No. He is tired of being weak. He is tired of those around him dying because he isn't strong enough to save them. He is tired of having limits. Turles' hair has grown long, and his power has grown immensely. Turles is now using Super Saiyan 3, and his power is staggering. Goku smirks, shouting kaioken times 8, as him and Turles stand side by side. Janemba just makes a confused grunting sound, and before Janemba can make a move, Goku and Turles have already landed a consecutive uppercut on Janemba, sending him flying into the air, where Goku and Turles appear once again, slamming him into the ground. Goku and Turles fight Janemba in sync, all their attacks hitting him at the same time to output maximum damage. With their power combined, they are actually winning against Janemba, and the monster isn't happy about that. Janemba flies into the air, forming a large ball of ki that he is about to throw at Goku and Turles. Goku and Turles then getting into the same stance as one another, as they begin to perform a Brotherhood Kamehameha. Janemba then throws a ball of ki at the two Saiyans. Goku and Turles then firing their beams in retaliation, and their struggle begins. They seem to be at a stalemate, as neither side gains an edge in the struggle. This is until Bardock flies behind Janemba, getting him in a full Nelson, which prevents Janemba from pushing his attack any further. And with one final push, Goku going all the way up to kaioken times 10, they push Janemba's ki ball back at him. Bardock smiling as he gets erased alongside Janemba. Gine falls onto her knees, crying as both her husband and one of her sons are now gone forever. An exhausted Goku and Turles then walk over to Gine, putting their hands on her shoulders as they say everything will be okay. They promise. A short while later, Goku and Turles return to King Yama's office. King Yama thanking them for stopping Janemba and asking if there is any way he can repay them. Goku and Turles look at each other, as they both know what to do. They ask for their mother Gine to be brought to heaven instead of hell. She doesn't deserve to be down there alone. King Yama looks through Gine's file, seeing that she is a kind-hearted Saiyan, and isn't even sure if she was meant to be down there in the first place, so he accepts his request, and he transports Gine to heaven, where she can now rest easy and no longer suffer for an eternity. We now head years into the future. Goku and Turles are both on King Kai's planet, and knowing about the World Martial Arts Tournament on Earth, they decide to return to Earth for a day to compete. And that is where we're going to be leaving things off. This video starts at the beginning of the Buu Saga. I already explained the Great Saiyan Man stuff, along with the fact Goku and Turles are coming to Earth for a day in the last video, so we are just going to begin this what if at the World Martial Arts Tournament. Goku still meets Goten, but when Krillin shows up, he is not arriving alongside Android 18 or his daughter. This is because, in this timeline, they never get together. Krillin wasn't there protecting Android 18 from Cell, so she has less feelings for Krillin. Right now, she's more interested in Turles, who is back for a day. Turles is talking to Gohan, but he then feels someone tapping on his back. He turns around and he sees Android 18. Turles says hi, and Android 18 says Turles tried his best to save her all those years ago. She'll have to make it up to him sometime. Turles blushes, and before he can respond, the tournament commences. Turles just replacing some random human fighter, and none of the other fights really matter, up until Gohan's fight with Kibito, which plays out differently, since Supreme Kai isn't able to restrain Gohan, meaning Spopovich and Yamu can only take a small amount of energy, before Gohan bursts his aura and sends the Margin Servant flying. Spopovich and Yamu then flying back to Bobbly's ship, and they are followed by the same group as usual, with the addition of Turles. Everything remaining practically the same until Gohan faces Dabura. This time Gohan would be much stronger than Dabura, but this is where Gohan's arrogance takes hold. Instead of finishing Dabura quickly, he just toys with the King of the Demon Realm, leading to Dabura escaping, and like normal, Bobbly takes over Vegeta's mind, and Majin Vegeta is born. But this time, instead of taking on Goku, Turles steps in the way, saying he will handle Vegeta himself. Vegeta wanted to face Turles after Goku anyway, so he is fine with this. So the two of them get transported to a wasteland, and their battle commences. At the same time, Gohan is facing off against Dabura once again, his arrogance still getting the better of him. Majin Buu eventually gets revived, and Gohan finally finishes off Dabura, and both Goku and Gohan in Super Saiyan 2 fight against the pink creature in front of them. And while they do this, Turles continues to avoid all of Vegeta's attacks, while telling Vegeta to snap out of it. He is stronger than this. He has a stronger will than this. He can't believe Vegeta would let that little yellow wizard control him. Vegeta said it was the only way to close the gap between them, but Turles finally decides enough is enough. Vegeta hasn't even closed the gap between their Super Saiyan 2 forms, but he knows there's only one way Vegeta will stop. Vegeta looks in shock as Turles transforms into Super Saiyan 3, and Vegeta slams his fist into the ground. He is so far behind. Vegeta would then try to punch Turles in the face, Turles catching the punch and then looking at Vegeta dead in the eyes. Vegeta finally gives up, and Turles says they need to go help the others. Vegeta agreeing as the two fly over to Goku and Gohan, and they see Goku and Gohan are very injured. Turles looks confused. Why hasn't Goku transformed into Super Saiyan 3? But it doesn't matter. Turles and Vegeta step in, telling Goku and Gohan to hang back for now and take a breather. With Turles' Super Saiyan 3 power, they are easily overpowering Buu. However, they can't seem to kill him because of his regeneration. Turles is about to charge a beam attack to kill the Majin. However, this is when Fortune Teller Barber arrives, telling Turles he's ran out of time. Supreme Kai sees this, and he quickly flies over to Turles, telling Fortune Teller Barber that he will return Turles to the non-living realm, as he then Kai's away. Barber being confused, however she can sense Turles no longer in this realm, so she doesn't mind. The Kai just did her job for her. Goku, Gohan and Vegeta all fight Buu together. They also overpower Buu. Even when it was only Goku and Gohan they overpowered Buu, but just like Turles, they couldn't find a way to kill Buu, and they still can't. Bobbly's getting worried. His servant is being overpowered. But this is when Bobbly senses an immense anger in Buu, slowly coming to the surface. Bobbly then using his magic to speed up this process, and shortly after, steam begins to come out of Buu's head as he then splits into good and evil Buu. The three Saiyans watching as the two Buus fight, and eventually Super Buu is formed. Super Buu kills Bobbly, and Goku tells Vegeta and Gohan to run. He can deal with this threat alone. Gohan asks how, but Vegeta knows, telling Gohan to listen to his stupid father and let's go. Gohan reluctantly agreeing as him and Vegeta fly off. Goku then finally transforming into Super Saiyan 3 and fighting Super Buu. Goku being stronger than Super Buu, and he wants to end the fight quickly, but just like Turles, he runs out of time in the living world, and Barber takes him back to Otherworld. Supreme Kai then bringing him to the world of the Kais, where Goku sees Turles training with a Z-Sword. Turles then sees Goku, slamming the sword into the ground, and asking why Goku didn't transform into a Super Saiyan 3 sooner. Goku saying he wanted the next generation to handle it, but Turles just punches his brother in the gut, knocking the wind out of him. Turles shouts that everyone they care about could die because of Goku's choice. Gohan, Goten, Chi-Chi, they could all die because of Goku. Goku says he is sorry, and before he can say another word, Turles and Goku both hear a cracking sound. Turles turning around as he sees the Z-Sword break. He put far too much power into slamming the sword into the ground. Kibito then appears. The Earthlings had revived him with the Dragon Balls, and he came back straight away, and he then looks in shock as well at the Z-Sword being broken. Shin and Kibito begin to panic, but then the Elder Kai appears, explaining who he is and saying he can unlock Turles or Goku's potential. Neither of them wanting this, but then the Elder Kai senses something deep within Turles. The key of a Kai. The Elder Kai saying this out loud, and when Shin begins to really focus, he can sense it too. Turles then thinks for a moment, and he realises why. The fruit of the Tree of Might was a fruit only meant to be eaten by the Kais, and he ate one of those fruits long ago. The Elder Kai scolds Turles for this, but he then says, instead of unlocking Turles' potential, he can instead increase the potency of Turles' Kai Ki, giving him not only a boost in power, but potentially the ability to use techniques that the Kais can, such as the Kai, and even better, this will be much faster than unlocking Turles' potential, only taking around an hour to do, since he is only making the Ki more potent, not converting all of Turles' Ki to that of the Kais. Turles accepts this, so the ritual begins, and in the meantime, Goku just decides to train. 1 hour then passes, the ritual being completed, and Elder Kai then transfers his life to Turles. Goku just staying on the world of the Kais to train, while Turles focuses really hard, and he then uses the Kai to teleport to Earth, arriving on Kami's lookout in between Buu and Android 18. Buu is about to turn Android 18 into candy, but Turles then transformed into Super Saiyan 3, and he shoots a Ki Blast at Buu, nearly destroying him as he is sent flying. Turles then turns around, telling Android 18 that she is safe now. Turles then looks around, seeing the heavily injured bodies of Gohan and Vegeta on the ground. Turles then walking over to them and focusing immensely, he is able to heal them. Not fully, but enough as to where they are not badly injured. Once he learns to master the technique, he should be able to do better than that. Buu then arrives back on the lookout, enraged as he fires a Ki Blast at Turles. Turles then smacking it away, and then, with a quick fire Kamehameha, he completely erases the margin, ending their battle as quickly as it started. Turles reverts to his base form. Gohan and Vegeta then standing behind him as they all look into the sky, smiling as Turles says he will see his brother again soon. But for now, he has to live his own life, continuing to smile as he looks back at Android 18. Goten and Trunks then exit the time chamber, asking what happened, and they all begin to laugh. And that is where we're going to end off this part. In the last video, we covered the events of the Buu Saga, so we now head into Battle of Gods. Turles over this time has gotten engaged with Android 18, and other than that, the only major difference is that Goku is revived by Whis in order to perform the Super Saiyan God ritual, and it doesn't really matter if either Turles, Goku or Gohan become the Super Saiyan God, since the result will be the same, with Beerus defeating them and being pleased with this fight. Resurrection F can't happen since Frieza died in Hell, meaning he can't be revived by the Dragon Balls. Even if King Cold finally locates Earth, and after training he attacks, Turles, Goku or Vegeta would be able to defeat him. So we now head into the Tournament of Destroyers. The team consisting of Turles, Goku, Vegeta, Gohan and Piccolo. Gohan was able to reschedule his meeting, and Monaka isn't needed to motivate the Saiyans, so they all motivate each other. The tournament remains the same up until everyone faces off against Hit, meaning he doesn't get taken out as quickly. And he does realise what Hit is doing. Gohan is up after Vegeta, and he powers up into Super Saiyan 2. Gohan obviously doesn't stand a chance against Hit, and Gohan knows this. This is why, while Gohan fights Hit, he studies Hit's movements, and figures out how Hit's time skip works. Hit then knocking Gohan out, and Gohan realises he needs to get stronger. He does still train, but he needs to find a way to get stronger than he is now. The Elder Kai paying attention to this, and we now head to Goku's fight with Hit. Goku being much stronger than himself in canon, meaning Hit has a lot harder time trying to face Goku. But since Goku is stronger, this just means Hit can progress his time skip further, eventually to the point where Goku still uses a kaioken on top of Super Saiyan Blue. Goku is able to defeat Hit here, but instead, he decides to forfeit. For one, he knows Hit can't go all out with the rules in place, and for two, Turles hasn't got to fight yet, and he wants to give his brother a chance. Turles thanks Goku, stepping into the ring as Hit stares him down. Turles begins to stretch, and Hit asks if he's going to go into that blue-haired form. Turles smirking as he says not quite. Hit is confused as Turles begins to power up, being engulfed by a purple and red aura, transforming into what he likes to call Super Saiyan Rose. That's right, Turles has unlocked Super Saiyan Rose. You see, back in the last part, where the Elder Kai made Turles' godly ki more potent, it wasn't to the point where regular Super Saiyan would become Super Saiyan Rose, but it did affect the god ki Turles got from his training under Whis, making the god ki more pure, more divine, which in turn made it so instead of getting Super Saiyan Blue, Turles got Super Saiyan Rose. So you may now ask, how strong is Super Saiyan Rose? Well, to power scale it, Goku in his fight with Hit needed Blue Kaioken times 10 in order to match him. Then, post Goku Black Ark, where Goku in Super Saiyan Blue could somewhat match Goku Black, Goku was able to beat Hit without using Kaioken. This means Goku got 10 times stronger at a minimum, and since Goku Black was still stronger than Goku, the multiplier for Rose could be even more than 10 times of Super Saiyan Blue. However, we're just going to make it equivalent to Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken times 10 for now, and since Turles is also a bit stronger in base, this means Turles is stronger than this Goku. And since Super Saiyan Rose doesn't have the same strain as Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken, this puts the fight even more in Turles' favour. So Turles and Hit have their battle, Turles knowing exactly how to counter Hit's time skip, and he has the speed and power to do so. Hit appears behind Turles, trying to knee the Saiyan in the back. However, Turles quickly turns around, blocking the knee with one arm and punching Hit square in the jaw with the other. Hit then appears above Turles, trying to land a kick on Turles' head, but Turles then appears next to Hit, punching Hit in the gut and then slamming him into the ground. Hit then rushes towards Turles, finally landing a blow on Turles' chest, but Turles just looks up at Hit, smirking, as he then kicks Hit away. Turles then wipes some blood from his mouth, and he rushes at Hit, the battle continuing until eventually Turles ends their fight with a full power Kamehameha, winning the tournament, and Universe 7 now gets to make a wish with the Super Dragon Balls. Zeno then arriving and becoming friends with Goku like normal, and now Beerus wants to wish for an Earth to be made in Universe 6. However, Turles says that isn't happening. There's something they have to at least try. Turles says to wish for his father Bardock and brother Raditz to be revived and transported to Earth, as he tells Whis to wish in the Divine Tongue, and Whis makes a wish. Turles and Goku being surprised as Whis says their wish was granted, but Beerus tells the two Saiyans that they do not comprehend the power of the Super Dragon Balls. They have no limits. We now head to the Goku Black Ark. Yes, it is still the Goku Black Ark, not Turles Black. When Zamasu watched both the battles between Goku and Hit and Turles and Hit, Zamasu realised a distinct difference between the two Saiyans' God Ki. Turles' God Ki seemed more divine, more like an actual god. This leading a misinformed Zamasu to believe that Turles might actually be a god of some kind, or at least a god in training. So he decides to still steal Goku's body, and the Goku Black Ark starts off the same, and only really changes when the group of Goku, Vegeta, Trunks, and Turles head to the future. Bardock and Raditz are simply too weak to join, and Gohan is busy doing something else. It was a bit of a tight fit in the time machine. for the four Saiyans, but they managed. Vegeta will still have his fight with Goku Black, and that ends the same way, but now, Turles steps in. Goku Black cracks his neck, saying finally, he'll be able to test his form's power against its creator. Turles transforming into Super Saiyan Rose, and saying he is flattered that he has a fan, but he is the only one allowed to use this form. Goku Black smirks, saying Turles is right about one thing. Only one person is allowed to use such a divine form, but that person won't be Turles. It will be himself. Turles says they will see about that, as he rushes at Goku Black, and their battle begins. The two Super Saiyan Rose uses clashing fists and trading blows. However, he notices Goku Black is growing in power. This is when Zamasu shows up, attempting to kill Goku Black. However, Goku and Trunks jump Zamasu, and they hold him back, Zamasu being pretty weak. However, after Zamasu somehow surviving multiple powerful attacks, Zamasu reveals he's immortal, which could cause some problems. Vegeta has finally gotten back up and regained some energy, going into Super Saiyan Blue, and now fighting Goku Black alongside Turles, this allowing them to keep their advantage over Goku Black, and without Zamasu healing him, Goku Black is getting badly injured. Zamasu, while getting destroyed repeatedly, notices this, and he knows he won't be able to go and heal Goku Black, so he decides to use their trump card, forcefully starting his fusion with Goku Black, and the two merge, becoming fused Zamasu. All the Saiyans then try to fight the fusion, and at first, they aren't doing so bad, but merged Zamasu then strikes himself with his own attack, and he gets significantly stronger. This leads to Turles using a trump card of his own. Much like Goku with Super Saiyan Blue in the manga, Turles has perfected Super Saiyan Rose. Turles powers up into perfected Super Saiyan Rose, and he begins to fight fused Zamasu one-on-one, actually being able to combat the fusion pretty evenly. Turles then looks back as he sees Goku teaching Vegeta the fusion dance. Turles buys him some time, and out of sheer luck, Goku and Vegeta are able to fuse into Gogeta first try, and after transforming into Super Saiyan Blue, they join the battle against fused Zamasu. And with Turles and Gogeta working together, they are easily beating fused Zamasu. Gogeta then using Soul Punisher to end the battle once and for all. The Soul Punisher move also preventing Infinite Zamasu from happening, meaning the future timeline gets to survive and not be erased by future Zeno. Future Trunks thanks his father, Turles and Goku for the help. At last, his timeline can finally live in peace and rebuild. Turles tells Trunks it was no problem, and the three Saiyans then return to their timeline, and unknowingly, nearing an upcoming tournament. Goku, Turles and Vegeta continue their training on Beerus' world. The three Saiyans training immensely to unlock a new power. But while Goku and Vegeta are currently training with Whis, Turles is currently doing a bit of training with Beerus. He has been training with Beerus alongside Whis ever since he began training on this world, and he feels like he is on the cusp of reaching a greater power. He just needs a catalyst to do so. However, after Turles finishes his training with Beerus for the day, he decides he's going to head to Earth for a bit, spending time with his wife and just relaxing. So he then says goodbye to Vegeta and Goku, and he kaikais to Earth. Some time passes, with Vegeta also heading to Earth since him and Bulma were expecting another child, leaving Goku to be the only one on Beerus' world. And he decides he wants to go ask Zeno about that tournament he promised. Beerus threatens Goku. However, Goku simply tricks Beerus into looking away, and he then goes to see Zeno anyway. The Tournament of Power then being set up, as Goku then heads to Earth to recruit the team. And obviously, the first people he goes to recruit is his brother Turles and Android 18. Heading over to Turles and Android 18's home and telling them both about the situation. He then asks both of them to join, and since the fate of the universe is at stake, they both agree. However, Turles is still annoyed Goku put them in this situation in the first place. Goku then heads off to recruit Vegeta and some others, while Turles goes to recruit Gohan, and he finds out he is currently on the world of the Kais. So he uses the Kai to teleport to him, and when he arrives, he sees Gohan in what seems to be his base form, currently meditating. Turles then tells Gohan everything Goku told him, and Gohan of course accepts to joining the tournament. But first, he wants to fight Turles. Turles being surprised, but accepting this request. Gohan powers up to Ultimate. Turles being surprised, as he realises the Elder Kai must have done the ritual on him. Gohan tells Turles to not hold back, so Turles transformed into Super Saiyan Rose, and they have a short battle. Gohan doing surprisingly well, however he is still no match for Turles, and Turles does end their battle by knocking them out. Turles and Gohan then head back to Earth, seeing Goku along with everyone Goku recruited. Universe 7 has the same team as usual, other than Turles replacing Frieza, and we now head to the Tournament of Power. There was no exhibition match, since there was no future Zeno who didn't know what a tournament looked like. Gohan's Universe 7 circle survives much longer because of how much stronger Gohan is, and since Gohan is stronger, Piccolo would be as well from training with Gohan, so that circle of fighters survives far longer than canon. However, it does eventually get split up. Other than that, the events remain practically the same, up until Goku has his fight with Jiren. Still unlocking Ultra Instinct like normal, but since Goku is stronger than his canon self, he does put up a better fight against Jiren. But that fight does end the same way. However, this time, instead of getting a small amount of energy from Frieza, Turles and Android 18 arrive. Turles using one of his Kai techniques and healing Goku. Not fully healing Goku since he is trying to save his energy, but he does heal all of Goku's wounds, and Goku also regains some of his stamina. And this is going to be very helpful for his upcoming battle with the two Universe 6 Saiyans, Kale and Caulifla. With Goku not being as exhausted, the two Saiyan girls are forced into fusing much sooner, and with Goku using Blue Kaioken times 20, he does seem to actually be a good match for the fusion. However, Kefla continues powering up more and more, and continues to grow in power, leading Goku to still unlock Ultra Instinct Toman for a second time, and he ends his battle with Kefla much sooner. Turles and Android 18 are staying together, the duo being a force to be reckoned with, as nobody is getting in their way. This not only being because of Turles' power, since Android 18 is stronger than her canon self as well, because of her training with Turles. She is more kin to the power of her brother Android 17, but maybe slightly weaker. Gohan is so much stronger here that he is able to defeat Dispo by himself and not get eliminated, and he decides to take on Toppo alone, while at the same time, the battle against Jiren is underway. This time, the people fighting Jiren are Goku in Blue Kaioken times 20, Vegeta in his Blue Evolution form, Turles in Perfected Super Saiyan Rose, Android 18 and Android 17. This forces Jiren to use more power, and 17 still sacrifices himself in order to save Goku, Vegeta, Turles and Android 18. Android 18 then getting enraged as she rushes at Jiren alone, but Jiren just begins to beat her down. Vegeta jumps in, trying to help, but Jiren just smacks him off of the ring. Vegeta then giving Goku his remaining energy as he gets eliminated. Goku looks down. He knows the only way they can win is if he accesses that power again. Ultra Instinct. Jiren continues to beat on Android 18. He is about to knock her out with a final punch, but then someone appears between them and catches Jiren's blow. Jiren looks in shock, as it is Turles, his eyes now being yellow and his hair being purple. Turles has achieved Ultra Ego, and Beerus looks from the stands, laughing as he says their victory is guaranteed. Turles and Jiren begin to have an intense battle, Turles quickly forcing Jiren to break his limits, and their power is incredible. Turles is already overpowering Jiren, and Turles' power just keeps on growing as the fight continues. A short time later, they are joined by Goku and Ultra Instinct once again, but this time in the Whitehead version, and this is just complete overkill. Both Goku and Turles are stronger than Jiren, and while Turles grows in power, Goku grows in speed, meaning the gap between them and Jiren just keeps widening every moment. And with both of them fighting Jiren together, they easily eliminate the Pride Trooper, and the Tournament of Power comes to a close. Goku and Turles power down, and then Android 18, Android 17, and Gohan all walk over to them. Gohan defeated Toppo a few moments after Turles unlocked that new form, and it seems Android 17 survived Jiren's attack after all. It doesn't matter who is crowned the MVP, because they would all make the same wish. Their wish to revive all the universes. We now head to the Moro arc, the Galactic Patrol coming to Earth in search of Majin Buu. However, they are disappointed when they realise he was killed a long time ago, which means so was the Grand Supreme Kai who was inside of him. Luckily, the likes of Turles, Goku and Vegeta decide to help the Galactic Patrol, so they head off to Namek, and this will be where the Moro arc ends, since with the three Saiyans being all much stronger than Goku and Vegeta from canon, along with the fact that Turles has perfected Super Saiyan Rose and Ultra Ego, Moro simply wouldn't stand a chance, and he would meet his end before he can even wish for his youth. The Granola arc isn't over yet, so I won't be covering that, so instead there'll be one final thing before we end this part. The Dragon Balls are gathered on Kami's lookout. Turles, Goku, Bardock and Raditz all being there as Shenron is summoned. Shenron tells the Saiyans that they have 3 wishes, and to state their first wish. Turles then stepping forward and looking up at Shenron, as he wishes for his mother Gine to be revived, and with his second wish, she needs to be teleported to them as soon as she is revived. Shenron says those are 2 simple wishes, as his eyes flash red, and he says the wishes have been granted. Gine then appears beside them all, and she cries as her and Bardock embrace. Shenron asks what is their final wish, and Turles says they have no other wish, so Shenron then disappears, and the Dragon Balls disperse. And this is where we're going to end off this series. Hopefully you guys enjoyed this video, and if you did, then make sure to like, comment and please do subscribe. It is quick and easy to do. Also, I want to give a huge thank you to Yeti Myth, Goku Tard and Jacula for becoming channel members. If you want to be shouted out at the end of a video and get other perks like your channel members here, then there is a link in the description down below to become a channel member. It greatly supports me and it helps me immensely. With all of that out of the way, comment down below a series you would like to see me do next, and yeah, goodbye guys.